Now lastly, we have our layer 7. We have our application layer. Now our application layer is going to be our next network access layer. It's going to be what enables our applications to access the network. It does things like identify communications partners. It identifies who we're trying to connect to. It determines our resource availability, such as our network availability for these applications using the network. And it helps to synchronize our communications. Now, when we're talking about our application layer, we're talking about protocols such as SMTP for when we're sending email. We're talking about HTTP for resolving or taking web pages and opening up web pages and browsing the internet, or FTP, file transfer protocol. So our application layer is really going to be the layer that is working on our computer, where our applications, our installed software, our operating system is determining how it can access, if these applications can access the network. In the case of HTTP, this is where our browser is trying to determine if it can establish a network connection, if it needs to connect to this web server, where this web server is, and it also determines our network resources, if we're able to connect to this, or how much resources, how much network usage I can put into opening or loading this web page. Through our layers 1 through 6, so far we've established a physical connection, we've established a data link connection, we've taken an IP address and we've gotten an IP address, and we've sent network data through we've sent data over the network using routers and other layer 3 devices. We've established our TCP or UDP for transporting our data on our layer 4. We have our layer 5, our session layer. We've established what kind of protocols we're using. We've created a handshake with whoever we're trying to talk to. Our layer 6, our presentation layer, we've encrypted, or we've started encrypting the data that we have. And our application layer is going to be what takes that data, and we're going to really start using it with our applications. We're going to take it and we're going to use it in a way that we can now see it on our screen. Our application layer is going to take the data and put it in an application, or take our application and allow it to transfer data. Now that we're at the end, we're at our layer 7, we can also see how our OSI model sort of goes up and down the chain. What I mean by that is, if we have a computer here that's sending to another computer over the network, we're really not just going down our OSI model once. We're really going down it once and then going back the other way. So if we start on our computer A here to our computer B, and we're running over, say, FTP, or we are a secure file transfer protocol, and we are trying to take a file and we're trying to send it to computer B, well, we're starting at the application layer. So our computer is trying to determine how much resources it has in order to take this file and get it ready to send. It's trying to determine if we have network connectivity and if we're able to access the network in order to send this file. These are going to be our layer 7 at our application layers on our first computer. So we're getting this file ready to send, and we're trying to determine if we have that network access. And then we have our presentation layer. Maybe we're taking this file and we're encrypting it. That's our layer 6. So we've now gone down a next layer. This layer's been taken, it's been encrypted, and so we now have it ready to go. Then we have our session layer. Our computer now attempts to establish some sort of handshake with the other computer. It's going to manage the connection. It's going to get the connection ready to go. Then we have our transport layer. Our transport layer is going to decide how it's going to transport this over TCP or UDP. Since this is an encrypted file and we want to make sure that all of our packets get there, we're going to use TCP, and we're going to have that receipt. And when the other side, our computer B, receives the file, it's going to send us back a return on delivery. Then we have our layer 3, our network layer. Both of our computers here have IP addresses. We're going to have to be sending this packet, we're going to have to be sending this connection over the network through different routers. Then we have our data link layer. Our computer, now that it has this IP address, that IP address is logically assigned to its MAC address. And so that MAC address is in charge of managing where that IP address is assigned to physically, so that it can, again, send out that data properly. And then lastly, we have our physical layer. Now that we have gotten our application. Our application has determined our resources, and it's allowed our application to talk to our network. We've encrypted that file. We've started a session, or we've taken the steps necessary in order to get ready to create a session. We've gotten ready to manage TCP or UDP. We have our IP address. We have our MAC address, and now we have that data, and it's down into our small bits, and it's ready to send as electrical impulses across our cable. And then all of that occurs sending across our network, and then our computer B also performs all of those functions, but sort of in the opposite manner. It receives the physical impulses to its MAC address, and it's using IP networking, and it has TCP or UDP, and we're managing the session and what's going on if we've established a connection or if we're terminating the session. We're decrypting the file, we're decrypting the data, and then our application, which is receiving that file, which is receiving that FTP transfer, is now receiving the file and is now taking it and then using our network resources. So we can see how at any given point in our network connection, we're really using all 7 layers of our OSI model. Our different layers may be more prevalent at certain times, such as when we're routing data through our router. When we're thinking of our router, we're talking about a layer 3 object because it's going to route data. Or when we're talking about a cable and electrical signals, we're talking about layer 1. We're talking about our physical layer. But we need to understand how our OSI model plays into all of our networking capabilities, and how to understand our OSI model and break up these different layers so that we can better understand what's going on when we're transferring and receiving data.